Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness, brought to you by DraftKings and their new app, Pick Six. Sign up with code Madness6 for up to $50 in free credits. This is LZ. I am here with Nick. And today on the episode, we got a lot to cover. There's a lot happening in the hobby. We're going to cover PSA. We're going to cover some things going on with Upper Deck that we heard. We're going to cover gambling. We're going to cover even some comics too. We're going to get into
Where on earth these $1 million Jordan cards are in our new theory based on new information.
Oh, yes, Nick. Okay, so let's get right into it.
All right, man. So, have you seen the movie Animal House? Of course, you've seen the movie Animal House.
Yeah,
All right.
John Belushi.
I feel like most of our audience is about our age. Okay. So, I'm thinking we've all seen this as kids. In
Uh-huh.
that movie, they've got a lovely fraternity. I forget the name of the fraternity. I was in one, it was awesome. Kevin Bacon's a part of this movie. And as part of their hazing ritual, they get smacked with a paddle, as many of us do who join fraternities. And
What do they say, Nick?
after every whack, Kevin Bacon says, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Okay.
Over and over again.
Ever since I got into the hobby, ever since I started submitting cards to PSA and they piss me off in some way, or they overcharge, or they get something wrong, or they lose something, I get whacked with the paddle and I say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
They have
Every
another.
single time.
You've said it on the show multiple times
I have.
already. Yeah. You have.
So this feels like we're going through a hazing ritual. So anyway, the
Yeah.
headline is PSA is raising prices, and
Mhm.
it's almost insignificant. Because unless they're going to quadruple their prices, it's not going to change a thing. We have
No.
inflation. People are going to pay it. I guess maybe the bulk submitters might raise their prices now, so that will impact people
Hmm.
at regional shows and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And I don't want to poo-poo like a few percentage points. Like that's coffee money and not awesome, especially if you're submitting thousands of cards a year or something like that. But they're raising them, and guess what? They're going to raise them again, and they're going to raise them again,
And
and you're going to
again
say,
and
"Thank you, sir.
again.
May I have another?"
I would say what I would equate it to, Nick, is it's like Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix, what did it start at $10? And they raised it by $2. Then they raised it by
yeah.
$2. Now we're paying like $20 a month for Netflix. But we love Netflix,
In
don't we?
marketing, we call that
We do.
the boiling a frog strategy.
Hmm.
If you slowly
Good
boil a
call.
frog, they don't realize it until they're boiled.
Mm.
If you start with a really hot pan, they know and they don't get in it, right?
Oh yeah, and they jump right out of the pan.
Not that I'm eating a ton of frog. I think I've had
Hey,
it like
speaking of that, I was going to ask you, have you tried frog?
I have. So I've been to a couple. When I was in New York for a year consulting,
Yeah.
I worked with this French consultant. They took me to some weird shit, man. I was eating snails, and yes, I had frog legs as an appetizer.
Escargot.
It was, man, it was like salty jerky. It tasted fit like fish, kind of. It's not
Yeah.
something I
Well, it
would
lives
want to
in the
do
water.
again. But if I was
Yeah.
surviving on an island, I would eat some frog legs. They're not horrible.
Yeah.
Lot of salt, lot of salt and oil.
Okay.
How about
Interesting.
you? You eating them?
I have not. I've had alligator. I've had snake. I
Alligator's
have
good.
not had frog. I've had rabbit, but rabbit's kind of,
I would say
that's
it's the
an
most.
Italian thing.
It's very similar to a freshwater, like a trout. It's like a very salty, oily trout.
Huh.
There you go.
Okay.
Ugh,
And it's
this
just the
is
legs, right?
yeah. You're not eating. Yeah, of course, right. So you're just eating the legs. If it's a big enough frog, you got an appetizer. You know what
Hey,
I mean?
you put enough teriyaki seasoning on those legs, man, and I'll go to town.
Old Bay, baby. Old
I'll
Bay
go to,
seasoning.
oh, you think Old Bay?
Yeah, why
Oh,
not, man? I put Old Bay on
uh,
potato chips, man. Um,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah. So
Utz actually has potato chips, I
they
think, with
too.
Old Bay.
They're really awesome when you can find them.
Yeah. Shout
So
out to
yeah,
Utz.
boil a frog strategy. Just raise your stuff over
Mm.
time. PSA is going to do it, and you know it is.
Yeah,
It's almost
it's tough, Nick, because I've seen people complaining about it, but like we live in a time of just incredible inflation. Um, think about how
sure.
much you're paying for eggs now,
Yeah,
right? It's like what, $4 or $5? It used to be like $2. Like this is just the world we live in, unfortunately.
yeah. Everything
Um,
goes up.
everything goes up and it sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I hate the fact that they raise prices, but like they have employees to pay, they have infrastructure they got
Yeah,
to pay for. Like, they have costs, they have electricity. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
there's things that they got
And
to
as do the people. I mean, this is macro 101, right?
mhm.
Like, and assuming that we all get our money raised up too, and people spend more money. That's not always the case, though.
Right.
Um, so it's interesting. I imagine PSA probably did some polls for price elasticity
Mm,
before they did this, and the polls probably said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
yeah. Yeah. They probably did. All right. So that is that. Everybody, we just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next topic. And at first, I want to shout out to Sports Card Nonsense,
Mhm.
Jesse and Mike over there. They actually recently interviewed a president over at Upper Deck, and they asked an interesting question around um, redemptions, specifically like old redemptions
Mm.
that Upper Deck still has in this mysterious vault
Some of these, before
that
you go
they
on,
have.
some of these redemptions could be worth over $1 million on the open market. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, no, we will. They referenced there's this very, very expensive kind of Ken Griffey Jr. one that they know is probably kind of sitting around in the vault. Um, there is there is a 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan that Nick has been documented as trying to hunt down and
Oh,
find
there's
these.
likely six of them, actually.
Yeah,
We'll get into that.
yeah. All
Crazy.
right. So we'll touch on that piece in a minute. But what was interesting around this was, and kudos to Mike and Jesse, because they were really kind of hitting on him with like, where are these cards? Like, how come you can't make these cards available?
Mm.
And he brought up something interesting. He said that in most scenarios, and he was a little bit vague, but he said in most scenarios, they are actually not allowed to give out those cards or sell them because let's use the Jordan as the example.
Yep.
They no longer have the NBA license.
That's
So
wild.
they can't sell it. They can't give it out. So it literally has to sit in the vault. I don't know until maybe someday they get the NBA license
You know what this
back.
makes me think
Like,
of real quick? Like,
yeah.
Nomar, somebody like they come back to the Sox for a 1 day contract so they can like
Yeah.
retire as a Red Sox,
Hmm.
you know? Can you get like a 1 day NBA license and unleash the vault?
Oh,
You
I
know
know.
what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, this one's even tricky because they talked about how they do have Michael Jordan's exclusive autograph rights still,
Correct.
and they
Yep.
talked about how it's a strong contract they have with them and a long-standing contract. But it's interesting because if we use the MJ one as the example, like
Yeah, so let's
they
talk
they
about
have
that.
these.
This
Yeah.
MZ stuff is like crazy.
Mm,
So, for the audience that might not realize this, Fleer went kaput, like early 2000s, okay? And their assets were bought out and they re-released these like Fleer retro packs in 2006, 2007. It was really cool. So they had modern day players like Chris Paul and they would have the 1986 Fleer background. And that's like a thing. People collect them and get them signed. It's awesome. But the Willy Wonka part of this
mm,
was Jordan signed, not secretly, like they took pictures and stuff. He signed a numbered 23 old, actual 1986 Fleer cards, good quality cards. And they did not stick the cards into the packs. They were redemptions. So there were redemption cards in the packs. So that's actually a quick PSA. If you see 06, 07 Fleer boxes and packs on
mhm.
eBay, don't buy that. The redemption cards have expired and there's no
Absolutely.
actual cards in there. So just a little warning there.
Hmm.
But I mean, I guess it'd be cool to like have the card. But anyway, so we know from auction sales and anecdotal data and other stuff that 16 of them have been found out of 23. And thankfully, they're numbered. So it's pretty cool. You can actually, all right, 9 out of 23 has been found, and yada,
There you
yada,
go.
yada, yada, right?
Hmm.
Um, 3 months ago, I found one in the wild. So I've been wondering all along, have these been redeemed and people just shut up and didn't say anything? Or are they sitting in Upper Deck's vault and there's no way to know?
Mm.
And it really bothers me because these are worth half a mil each easy because they're these special like redemption. The auto's perfect. The circumstances around it are amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder with what you say is like, are they in an Upper Deck, vault? Or God forbid, are they on like an Upper Deck sea-level guy's desk?
Executive
And he's
desk
just
just
like, "What's
showing them
up?
off.
I got this like 500,000 card on my desk."
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
Mhm.
so. That would be insanity. I
Yeah.
I imagine they have either been quietly redeemed and for some reason they just haven't surfaced, like the one that I
Hmm.
found.
Hmm.
Um, or they're in the vault and maybe they just can't release them. And I've really harassed a lot of people at Upper Deck, and I can't get a straight answer. They did say that they destroy them after a 10-year period, and I was like, there's no way they put these in a shredder. And
No,
if they
no way.
did, God help them.
Mm-mm.
Um, so I don't buy it. But that was the official response I got after 10 years they
Okay.
destroy them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Ah,
I mean, yeah, he didn't talk about that, but I mean, maybe they do, but that would just be foolish, 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 foolish to do that.
yeah.
Nick, they might all be redeemed. Like you found one in the wild. Like how many people like just have these cards from back in the day that are just sitting in a shoebox? Like, I don't know. I mean, you found
This
one.
one though, an autograph, even the
I don't
biggest
know.
idiot in the world that doesn't have like any
Not
knowledge of sports cards knows my yeah, you never know, dude.
no,
You
you
never
know,
know.
a father passed away and
You're
gave
right.
all of his junk to his daughter. Like
Just
you don't know.
and
And
it's
the
like a big
daughter hasn't
pile.
looked in that box yet. Like,
This is the stuff that gives me
you
nightmares. Don't
know,
don't go
like
down this road.
Nick, I have stuff in my basement that I have old family members that have given me, and I haven't opened them all. I
That's
just
true.
haven't.
Yeah, my mom's cleaning out. My dad passed away a couple years ago. She's cleaning out all my old stuff, and I haven't. Yeah, I just haven't gotten
Yeah.
busy. We're all busy, right?
Yeah, we're all busy. You also know that it's going to be like an emotional thing, and you're like, "Am I
Yes.
ready to do this on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Do I
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
ruin my Sat? I want to ruin it, but you know what I mean.
It's
Like
gonna
get
be a heavy
emotional on a Sat.
Saturday.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a heavy Saturday, right? So yeah, and then 4 years go by, and you still haven't opened up the box. It's like, oh man,
Sounds about right.
yeah,
Sounds
it
about
sounds
right.
about right. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm. All right, let's talk next topic.
Next topic on the docket is
Mm,
gambling, which I thought was interesting. Before we get into gambling, I just want to shout out DraftKings Pick Six. If you use code Madness6 and spend $5, you get $50 free. So it's code Madness6, and just it's on the App Store. Just download Pick Six. Um, this is interesting. So I think a lot of the viewers might know C. Blez. There's three brothers. Okay, they own a breaking company. The older brother has won $10 million in poker earnings and is quite a brilliant guy. He's
really?
very
Like World Series of Poker type
Mhm. Oh
stuff?
yeah, he's been at the head table multiple times. I don't think he's actually won. That's very difficult, but he's he's been at the main event. He's ripped
Okay,
cards
well, that's cool.
during the main event.
Oh, I know this.
Did you see
I've heard that
this?
story. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that story.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
cool guy. He's great for the
Okay.
hobby. I've never actually
Mm,
interacted with him. I'm sure I will someday. Then
mm.
there's the younger brother who runs the breaking. Then there's, or maybe he's the middle brother. Anyway, C. Blez is the third brother, not the redheaded stepchild, but like whatever. He's a good guy and everything.
Yeah.
So he's always like in your face on Instagram with gambling bets. And
Mm.
I lost my mind one day, and I wanted to explain to people how a martingale system works. People can Google that, but
Say that
um,
again.
a martingale system. Okay.
Martingale.
Yes. So
All right, I'm writing
that's a
that one
system
down, Nick.
where you're constantly splitting your bet and doubling it and splitting your bet and doubling it. And that made me think of a way gambling. This is how stock companies used to operate in the 90s. So a little flashback for everyone. There was a company out of Denver who did this, okay? Here's the story. So they sent 1 million people snail mail. They didn't email or anything like that. Snail mail cards with a binary stock pick. It either goes up or it goes down. So
Okay.
they sent them out. Half of them said the stock was going to go up, and half of them said it was going to go down with a finite period of time. Okay, a binary outcome.
Okay.
So the stock, let's just say it went up.
Okay.
500,000 people are like, thanks for the stock tip. Okay.
Hmm.
They ignored the other 500,000, never sent them anything again. Then they sent another five. This actually happened. They sent 500,000
Okay.
new stock picks, one stock
Okay.
pick, whether it goes up or down to those 500,000 people.
Ooh.
And the stock, let's just say it went up. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, then now you have 250,000 people that think, they got two things right in a row. They
Ooh.
ignore the other 250,000. Now we're going to send out 250,000. We're going to split them. Stock goes
Yeah.
up, stock goes down.
Hmm.
Okay. Boom. Let's say the stock goes up. Now 125,000 people think you are a genius.
Oh yeah, you have them hooked at
You're
this
like, are
point.
you kidding me? This company for free mailed me 3 stock picks and they
Yeah.
got them all right within a 90-day period of time.
Ooh.
Take my money. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, the minimum investment is $10,000 and the fees are, it's not 2 and 20, it's, whatever.
Yep.
And this is a real thing that happened. They got busted for it. So I started to, I don't know, this is how I think, man. I started to think about this gambling crap. And I'm like, if you have a newsletter for gambling, you could do the same thing. all right, I'm picking the Celtics or the Kings. It's a binary outcome. Celtics win. Boop. Okay. You shave off those 500,000 people and so on. You do the same scheme with gambling. So I don't know if Seablez is doing that, but I was just poking him and I put that out there. But then what I did find out is that Seablez and this Hank the Stank guy, who are both gambling influencers, they're living in like the same apartment together with the same carpet, the same blanket, same everything. And they're
Okay.
giving opposing picks. And then I heard a rumor that
Ooh, so they're doing this.
Hank is actually giving Seablez like 80% of his money. And so they're just gaming everything. No matter what the outcome is, one of them wins. And then Seablez gets the money from
Ooh.
Hank if this is happening. And meanwhile, their social profiles go boom. So I thought it was crazy. So I did a couple reels about it, and I thought it was funny. You can check out all this stuff, guys. I don't want to pump my Instagram too much, but half the time I forget to splice the reels into these things. So if you want to see these reels, it's Boston Card Hunter. You can go look at them. They're all on there. So yeah, I called it out, and people were like, "Holy crap! Holy crap!" It's like, God forbid we think differently about stuff. So my message to everybody is, don't ever take gambling advice from like a social media person. The real people who are good at this, people I used to know and interact with, are personal trainers who know what's going to happen with the injury, okay? Or somebody on the coaching staff that knows what's going to happen with a roster spot.
Mhm.
Or there's algorithms that predict the weather. Stock market uses those for stocks. People do use them for conditions for football. But the people who are gaming that, they're not on social media going, here's my pick. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
Sports gambling is a very difficult, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mhm.
Little Hank the Stank, he doesn't have it beat, man. He's just rolling dice.
Well, he's got a lot of people fooled. How many followers do these guys have?
Hank's
Would
got
you?
30 and
Yeah.
Seablez has 110, whether they're real or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I mean, whatever, man. They got a lot.
Hey,
Good on them. I'm just getting people to think a little bit differently about Hank the
God,
Stank.
God bless America, Nick.
Yes.
God bless
No,
America.
man. Unless you're like willingly committing fraud here, God
Yeah.
bless America. I agree. I agree.
Oh, all right. Let's get to the fourth topic. This coming summer, well, this summer, yeah, 2025. New Superman movies coming out.
Mhm.
It's getting a ton of publicity already. There's a new Superman. They're making a whole new franchise. It's the DC universe, right? Colin Farrell with with the Penguin show.
That dude,
I think it's gonna,
shout out to that show, man, and
dude,
shout out to Colin Farrell. Amazing.
dude. I don't usually do stuff like this, but I told
You did.
I told you after watching the first episode that he was going to win an Emmy. Now the Emmys haven't happened yet, but he won the Golden Globe.
I'm gonna give
So
you credit on this one, man. And
yeah,
I was like halfway through the episode. I'm like,
mm,
I thought you were gonna spoil it or something. And then, yeah, I agree, man. The
so
amount of
good.
makeup he had to go through was fascinating. If you watch
Yeah,
the behind the scenes stuff, they
mm,
had to really prep him. Yeah,
yeah.
dude, he crushed that, man.
All right,
Crushed it.
so we have Marvel, who's already killed it. Disney's made like their investment like tenfold with that one.
Right.
DC, Batman's killing it, Superman's killing it. There are a lot of other universes out there, like these comic universes. And a couple years ago, Vin Diesel came out with a movie. I think it was like 2020. It was called
Hmm.
Bloodshot. And that is like a whole different type of universe. That is, I think it's called Valiant
Yeah.
is the universe. So
Actually,
you
it's the
have,
third biggest comic behind Marvel and DC.
yeah, it's huge. And you got Upper Deck, who's got the DC rights, so they're gonna be blasting out Superman and Batman and everything to do with DC. And I'm just waiting for the next one. There's just too much money to be made
Oh
with
yeah, it's
these
easy,
universes.
easy money. If they
Yeah.
dropped Iron Man 3 tomorrow, $1 billion movie.
Hmm. Yeah.
Robert Downey comes back, like $1 billion.
So I looked up Valiant. Valiant has, let's call it, oh boy. I mean, there are probably 100 different characters. Um,
Mm.
but there are some kind of popular ones. There's probably a dozen that are popular. So, that's probably the next one to hit, if not another one. But I think we're gonna see this. There's too much money to be made.
It's a
I know
good
this.
lesson here
I
too. Like,
Yeah, no, I know it sounds random that I'm bringing this up, but with Upper Deck getting DC, it's just again, there's just too much money to be made.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
this world. Cash used to be king, and now
Mm,
content is king. And
yeah.
if you're sitting on IP, whether it's music or movies or
Mm,
artwork or anything really, it's so much more valuable than it was in like the 80s or even the 90s because you can accelerate it and do so much with it. So I think what we should expect from a sports card perspective and a TCG perspective
yeah.
is for new IP to enter the space. Why aren't
Hmm.
there retro Transformers cards? Why aren't there cards from different movies or these different, maybe there's a comic that's really successful internationally, but
Yes.
not so much in the
Yes.
US. And
Hmm.
so you may see some cards that maybe they're not at your LCS, but they end up in Newbury Comics where, I go there with my daughter. She watches the weirdest, craziest anime stuff you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you're not buying those cards at the local card show. Like you go into Newbury and you're spending a lot of money on those
Hmm.
cards and figures and crap. So I think we should just expect more choice and more options. All of them won't be great, but some of them will be. And it'll be kind of cool to see like
Yep.
how it disrupts the space, I think.
I think it will be. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, the whole international point is a great point. Um, I just like I'm sure you all seen videos like this is like really a cultural thing like in Japan. Like
Yeah,
over in Asia, this is big, big, big.
definitely.
So yeah. I think it's something to look forward to.
All right.
So,
We're
all
going to
right.
close this down with a stunt that I just saw
A
today.
stunt.
A stunt. I am the
Okay.
king of stunts. All right. I've done these stunts before.
All right.
So,
I
Filth
actually
Bomb.
I actually told Nick not to tell me anything about this because I haven't seen it. So you're hearing it as I hear it, everybody.
All right, Filth Bomb Breaks, big
Hmm.
company, big breaking
Hmm.
company, 40,000 followers. They posted something. I don't know when this airs, but whatever. They just posted something, okay? And it's a guy at Filth Bomb looking teary eyed, and he's holding up the lost Steph Superfractor with the front facing the camera. And
Okay.
it's he said something to the effect of, "We just did some personal breaks in the house, and I'm stunned with whatever it was." And it's going quite viral. Matter of fact, it's probably the only post in like 2 years that's over 100 likes for an account with 40,000 followers, which is interesting.
Okay.
All right. I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
people follow
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so it's going really viral. And I had to poke the bear on this one because, I always joke that whoever finds the lost superfractor, and it's probably like a $5 million card, um, they got to be using a CAT scanner. So I did a reel. Again, this is all on Boston Card Hunter if you want to see it. I did a reel saying, all right, guys, what is it? Are you joining my club with the fake cars? Because I've pulled something like this before. I got a
You
magic
have
ship.
this sounds very familiar,
Oh
Nick.
yeah, yeah. I love to
Yeah.
print. I love to print fake crap and
Yeah.
like stir things up.
Mhm.
So they're either doing that, or I said, or are you cat scanning? And so the consensus is they're having fun. It doesn't look like a real card to me. I think they're pulling a stunt, but that's an odd thing to do for a very respectable breaking company. Nobody's done that before. I'm just an idiot, right? Like, I'm just like
Yeah,
one
they
man
they don't
person.
yeah, you wonder. They don't like need the views.
Yeah, it's
Do you
strange.
was there any sort of campaign that went with it? Like they just using it as like a to launch a campaign for
No,
something?
that's it, man. Just a
Huh,
post going viral. So, I
interesting.
mean, good on them, but I think it's gonna bite them a little bit. All publicity is good publicity. That still
Mm,
holds true, but a lot of people are gonna
yeah.
think differently about this. It's different for me. I'm a huckster, and I'm just like I'm goofing off, okay?
Yeah.
And you're welcome to unfollow, but I'm not running like a business based on cards and like a really serious multi-million-dollar business. And for
Sure.
them to pull this stunt is a little like kindergarteny to me. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, my immediate thought was it's fake when you started talking, when the words are coming out of your mouth, right?
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
it feels
We'll
fake.
see.
So
All right,
yeah,
man.
we'll
I got
see.
a I got a question for you this time.
Oh, you do? All
I
right.
do.
I don't know if people saw, like I wasn't like I was paying attention to you, but I was looking at my phone earlier because I'm like, shoot, I gotta ask Nick a question. But all
All
right,
right.
you got a question for me.
All right, dude.
All
You
right.
you were touring a college with one of your kids, whatever. You
Oh,
stepped
that's gonna
into
become a real thing very soon, actually.
that's really scary.
Yeah, it is
Um,
really scary.
you accidentally, instead of going to the bathroom, you went to like a radiation lab, okay, and you got hit. You got hit with some mutant radiation, okay? You are about to join one of the universes. It's either Marvel,
Oh.
DC, whatever. You're getting a superpower. You get to choose though, man. You get to choose the superpower. What would it be?
Oh, I say this all the time. This is gonna be boring, but I say it every single time I get asked this question. It's flying. I
Really?
want to fly in the worst way. Yeah. Heck yeah. I don't
Okay.
have to wait in traffic anymore, Nick.
That
We
would be
live in the
sick.
Boston area. Like I saw a report that came out. I saw a report that came out that we actually have the worst traffic in America. It's no longer Los Angeles anymore,
Certainly
everybody.
feels like
It
it.
is Boston, Massachusetts.
Oof.
I don't have to wait in traffic anymore. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
that's pretty sweet.
Like I'm doing that, man. I'm gonna be able to save every cat in a tree. No problem. I
Yeah.
got it.
You
I
you
got it.
never have to pay for airfare ever again.
No,
For
never. I can go
yourself. I mean,
wherever
I
I
guess
want.
maybe you could carry a few people,
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll
Yeah.
I'll I'll figure out how to
You
carry a
well,
few
hey,
people.
just make a couple trips to Japan.
Yeah,
Like
boom and back, back,
yeah,
back
boom,
and
boom,
forth,
boom.
back and forth, back and
Bring the
forth, back and
dog,
forth.
bring the suitcase. All
Yeah,
right, I dig it, man.
it's flying. What is it for you? Oh,
I
actually,
thought,
can I guess? Can I guess?
yeah, go ahead, guess. I've thought about this since I was a kid, and it's
I
never changed.
think it has something to do with time travel.
What the hell? All right, it's close. It's close.
What
You
is
do
it?
know me
What is
well.
it? What is it?
It is the ability to freeze and unfreeze time at my will.
Oh.
I could do so much damage with that. Freeze time, walk into the bank, walk out, unfreeze time. Immediately I go to bad things.
Yeah.
You wanna mess with a basketball game, freeze
Mhm.
time, smack the ball out of his hand, unfreeze time.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be sick. And you could just do whatever you want. Just mess with every that's all I want to do in
Oh
life.
yeah,
Mess
you
with
could get
people.
out of a lot of different pickles, man.
Yeah.
If you're
You'll
throwing
never get
if
arrested
you're
ever.
throwing fisticuffs at somebody, you just freeze time and then put them in a
Boom.
pretzel and then unfreeze.
You'll never
Yeah.
be taken hostage or captive unless you're sleeping or something.
Yeah. Mm.
And I feel like you could steal a lot of money and do a lot of damage, and it'd be so fun. So I've wanted to do that since I was like 8. I think that would be an amazing skill.
That is a mischievous. Yeah,
I don't
like
think
it
there's
though.
much good I could do with that skill.
No. Well, there is.
I
There's
can meditate on something for 10 years and then, come back.
Hey, there's some big natural disaster or something coming, like an earthquake, right? You could warn
Freeze time.
everybody. Freeze time. Everybody get out. Get out.
A
Get out of here.
psychoanalyst watching
Yeah.
this has really they're going to crap on me now, man. That
Yeah.
should have been my first reaction is to save people and like do nice things.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm going to rob banks, baby.
That's it. Rob, thanks.
All right, that's it. That's
All
it.
right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.